It's Thursday, November 30th, 2023. A lot to talk about today. Please make sure to like this video. Make sure to like this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you support the channel, you want to get the word out, like the video. It helps to really fire up the algorithm so that we can continue to grow, continue to wake people up. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. But let's get right into what's happening today. Pending home sales drop to a record low, even worse than during the financial crisis. This on CNBC today. Now, what I find shocking yet again, but not really, is that the markets had a very, very nice day today, especially the Dow Jones up over 500 points today, while pending home sales drop to a record low. So while we are watching the collapse of commercial real estate, the collapse of housing because nobody's buying houses, so home sales are collapsing. They have collapsed. And yet, with all of this real estate collapsing, the Dow Jones is up over 500 points today. I wonder how that could be. There is no relationship between reality and these markets. They are completely disconnected. I looked at bankrate.com today, 30-year fixed rate mortgage, 7.66%. So mortgage rates still extremely high. We're going to continue to see less demand for housing because more people are losing jobs, more people are falling behind, more people cannot qualify to buy a home. And I think that we're getting very, very close. And I think this is 2024 when we really begin to see this. And it's going to be homeowners. The homeowners begin to get into trouble because they're losing jobs and they're falling behind. And no matter what mortgage rate they have in their house, 2.65, 2.99, whatever it may be, when you don't have an income or you only have one income coming in because your spouse just lost their job, you're not going to be able to float the mortgage payments and you're going to be forced to sell no matter what mortgage rates are because you're going to have to get out of this thing. And I think that when we look at how many people borrowed money out of their homes and we're beginning to see prices coming down, we're going to see a rush to the exits like we did back in 2008, and people won't even be able to sell their homes because they're upside down. They owe more than the home is worth. Another thing that is going to be a concern for the housing market is Airbnb. I was reading an article last night, and we're going to see, especially here in Southern California, much more regulation when it comes to these short-term rentals. And this is happening all over the country where many parts of the country are seeing more regulation now. It's going to be much more difficult for these owners to do short-term rentals on these properties. And so if they cannot rent these properties out, they cannot make the mortgage payments. These people are highly, highly leveraged on these properties. We're going to see a rush to the exits. I think that 2024, brace for impact, ladies and gentlemen, because it's about to get very, very crazy. Americans are yanking money out of their retirement savings to cover bills. We've talked about this numerous times. What's going to be left when people actually want to retire? They're going to have absolutely nothing left. And this is why right now, when if I go out to dinner, I was just at a Rite Aid store about a week ago, a drugstore, and the shelves are very, very bare. One older woman who's worked there at least the past year that I know, she gets, she scoops the ice cream, she checks everybody out at the front, she stocks the shelves, she gets the carts from the parking lot, she does everything. One person. This lady is probably near 80 years old, and she's running the entire Rite Aid all by herself. Stocking, picking up the carts, scooping up the ice cream, cashing people out, taking the garbage out, you name it. She's doing everything. One person, and she's got to be nearly 80 years old, and she's there all the time. Shifting gears here a little bit, let's talk about the banking sector. Major banks closed over 3,000 branches last year. Get this, between 2017 and 2021, 7,000 bank branches have closed. So somebody please tell me what is going on. So many of these bank branches are closing every day. I'm reading about more and more. Here's another one from the San Francisco Gate. Bank of America shuttering nearly 24 Bay Area branches and ATMs. And this is probably going to take place in the next 90 days. And this may not be a big deal to some people, but to a lot of people it is, because it becomes an inconvenience when, maybe you opened up a bank account or a business account because it was, very close to your home or to your business, and it was very convenient. Now things begin to get more and more convenient. Just like, when, the Walgreens or the Rite Aid shuts down and you got to get your prescriptions and you just like the convenience that it's, 5 minutes from your house or 10 minutes from your house. Now you have to go 20 minutes. Maybe you have to go 30 minutes to the nearest drugstore or bank. It becomes a real serious inconvenience, but I think it's also beginning to warn us about something in the banking sector. Here's one here today from the Desert Sun, our local paper here. Bank of America closing Rancho Mirage Bank 2 months after Palm Springs closure. This will take place December 5th. So we just had the Palm Springs Bank of America close. Now the Rancho Mirage Bank will close. So this now, these two cities are almost connected. You have Cathedral City in between, but there's convenience right there where now people are going to have to drive further, deal with traffic to get to a bank. And, some people want to walk into a bank. They want to physically walk into a bank. They want to talk to a physical human being, not somebody on the phone, not a computer, not a bot. They want to talk to a human being. And this is becoming more and more inconvenient for people. And there's something definitely going on when you see how many of these bank branches are closing. And then let's talk about these people that work in these banks. They're not working now. Now, what are they going to do? How do they pay their rent? How do they pay their mortgages? And then we look at the tax base. Some of these banks are quite large. And when you have a tax base going to the city of Rancho Mirage, that now isn't, that's not good. Same thing with Palm Springs. The tax base goes to zero, right? These businesses are not contributing to taxes for that city. And then we have to think, who owns these buildings? And if nobody's renting these buildings and paying the rent or the lease on these buildings, then what's happening to the owner of these buildings or the investors of these buildings? Again, the commercial real estate market has never been this bad. And and then clearly the housing market has really never been this bad, because now it is worse than the financial crisis. Unrealized losses at U.S. banks. This is on the Hedge today. Unrealized losses on securities held by U.S. banks exploded by 22% in the third quarter of this year. This is more evidence that the financial crisis continues to bubble under the surface. I think that there are big problems in the banking sector. I don't think people are talking about it. I think a lot of people are ignoring the warning signs here. Unrealized losses, primarily on U.S. Treasuries and mortgage-backed securities, rose by $126 billion. Now, may not be a big deal to some people, but this is draining the liquidity of banks. And when banks are no longer liquid, you got a big problem. And so, it blows me away how many people are so illiterate with what's happening in the real world, what's happening in the financial sector right here in America, what's happening in banking, what's happening in real estate, what's happening to the retirements, what's happening to their standard of living, what's happening to their purchasing power. More people are waking up to it because they're forced to. But a lot of people are just shrugging it off, thinking it's going to get better, or they'll just keep using their credit cards till something happens. Well, what's going to happen is those people using those credit cards are going to hit a brick wall. And when that happens, these people are in enormous trouble. And I know that these are people that you've been warning, people that you've been trying to wake up. And these are people that are probably going to be knocking on your door one day for help. The Hedge today. Is your money safe Within a year, millions may lose their savings due to AI threat, warns cybercrime expert. Cybercrime expert Mark Meisch said authorities will be powerless to stop this new coming crime wave, which will see criminals use AI tools to fleece potentially millions out of their money. Interesting article. Do your own due diligence, do your own homework, check this stuff out. But I bring this up because, you know, I'm a believer that if you don't hold it, you don't own it. And I don't think that a majority of your money should be in the banks now. I think you have to be very, very cautious if your money is sitting in a computer that somebody can just press a button and make it disappear. Cyber criminals are getting more sophisticated. Phishing emails, deep fakes, voice phishing. This is recreating voices and faces. Very, very scary stuff. Next year, we're going to see a whole nother level, a whole new level of this AI and this technology and this very, very sophisticated crime that is going to wipe people out. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. And that's not to say take all your money, you know, out of the system. I think that you should have a majority of your money out of the system. That's my personal belief. And I know that for some people, they can't do that for certain reasons. But really, really be careful. Again, this is another prime example that if you don't hold it, you do not own it. And the technology now that is out there is beyond most people's capacity. And it's going to be very, very difficult for law enforcement to go after these people, to protect money sitting in these accounts, whether they be in cryptos or in stocks or maybe investment companies. Everything is hackable. So it almost makes you wonder, is your money safer under the mattress than it is sitting in a bank or sitting in a computer somewhere? You know, you really have to think about it. When you see what's happening in the banking system and money that just gets lost, money that just disappears, money that gets stolen through these attacks, it really makes you think, you know, are these the safest places to be putting your money in? And if something happens, who's going to protect you? Who do you talk to? Continuing jobless claims surged to 2-year highs. Continuing claims now have hit 1.926 million. Jobless claims for last week came in today at 218,000. I looked at shadowstats.com today to see their unemployment number versus, I think, 3.8, 3.9 is the official government number. ShadowStats has it around 24%. So what do you think? What's the unemployment number in America? Is it 3.8, 3.9%, whatever the number is? Or is it closer to the shadowstats.com number of 24%? Or is it somewhere in between there? I have no idea. All I know is that there are a lot of people out there working multiple jobs who are just trying to keep their heads above water, and it's getting very, very difficult. And I'll finish with this last article today. Mark Faber, inflation is here to stay. This also on The Hedge. Short term, Mark Faber believes that interest rates are coming down. Long term, he believes rates are going up and inflation is going to go up. He says for most people, the economic recession is reality because it's already here, because their wages have gone up less than the cost of living increases. He said, get out of the dollar, and I totally agree. You still have to have some dollars till you don't, but I think that more and more people around the world are beginning to realize that just sitting on paper or having some digits on a screen is not as safe as maybe holding real assets outside of the system, outside of the bank. Holding real things, ladies and gentlemen. You know, if you woke up tomorrow and there was a massive bank run or a massive bail-in, or a massive cyber attack and you could not access your money, and maybe your money is gone for good, maybe it's gone for a week, maybe it's gone for 2 weeks, who knows? So there's a lot of things that could happen. Remember, we're heading into 2024. Anything now is possible, and you have to ask yourself this question. If something bad happened in the banking sector, could I survive? Could I eat? Do I have money? Do I have cash I can get to? Because that means if the banking system goes down, that little plastic card, your debit card, your ATM card, it's useless. All that matters now is what you can physically get to, what you can physically hold in your hand. That's it. That's all that matters. And most people hold absolutely no cash. Many people just don't even have any money, period. But if they do, they hold it in a plastic card and they just hope that the machines work that day. And I think that we're going to see a lot of volatility in the system, and that we've seen more and more of these cyber attacks. We've seen more of these apps, banking apps, shut down, go down, ATMs. Many times, we've all probably experienced an ATM down, or even going to the bank. I've over the last 2 years have never seen so many bank doors locked and closed where the bank was just closed for whatever reason, with a note on the door written in a magic marker saying that closed today, be back open in 2 days. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. So you have to think, like, there is a huge possibility that we could see things shut down for a period of time. How long that time is, who knows? But whether it's a day or a month, are you going to be able to feed yourself? You're going to be able to buy something. Do you have barterable items? Do you have assets that are liquid that can be converted into cash? Do you have cash? These are the things you have to be asking yourself. Do you have the emergency food put away? These are all things that we really need to be asking ourselves, because truly I believe that we're going to see some very historic and potentially biblical events unfold in 2024. And you can't rule out certain things from happening now in this country that could shut everything down very, very quickly. Nobody has an answer. Nobody really knows for sure what's going to happen. But one thing I'm sure of is we're going to see more uncertainty. And we are witnessing massive manipulation in the system right now. As I close, somebody please explain to me how the market could be up, or the Dow Jones could be up over 500 points today. Yes, it's a lot of hope that the Fed is going to reverse course, that the Fed is going to begin to lower interest rates. If the Fed lowers interest rates, isn't that what got us where we're at right now? Isn't that what caused a lot of the inflation, lowering rates, pumping in all this money, all this cheap money where people could just, this is what caused the housing bubble. People bought homes they couldn't afford because of cheap, low rates. Now it's caused a housing bubble. It's caused inflation. And so we're not even near the 2% target, yet we're talking about lowering interest rates already. I don't believe it. I think the Fed has a long way to go, but somehow they just keep rolling this myth or this hope that the Fed is about ready to lower rates. If they do, get ready to watch gold and silver go absolutely ballistic. I'm prepared for that. I've got plenty of gold and silver. So whether rates go up or down, it's not really going to faze me. I think that if rates do go down, it's going to be a big problem, because this is where you begin to see inflation get out of control. And it's going to be very, very hard to put the genie back in the bottle at this point. If the Fed is really dedicated and loyal to protecting the US dollar and the American people, which they're not, they will continue to raise rates. They could definitely, no doubt, cut rates. And if they do, we're going to see big problems with inflation in this country. So I hope you own real things. I hope you have real assets, because it could get really, really crazy. So I'm going to leave it there today. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on anything. But why do you think the market was up today? I believe it's hope. And I believe that that the markets truly, truly believe that we're going to see a cut. All this while the economy is on life support, housing is collapsing, commercial real estate collapsing, banks in big trouble. But let me know your thoughts on it. Have a good day. Stay safe out there, and God bless every one of you.